Hello everyone, I'm Luke Whitehead, and I understand with all this being in quarantine, this may not be the easiest way for me to present this, but I did a lot of thinking while I was stuck in my house for days on end, and I realized something. We have a great opportunity here to take advantage of the extra time and really look into issues that we can change from our houses, with one of those being reducing death rates in other ways. Now, I can't promise you that I can come up with a cure for the coronavirus right now, but I can help eliminate a very high statistic that most people realize but don't think about that much. Approximately 1.35 million people die in car crashes each year, which is the third highest, only below heart disease and lung disease. That's from the Association of Safe International Road Travel. Now, I don't know about you, but I drive everywhere I go. When I drove home from campus, my 8-hour drive home went through 2 major cities. And then in the fall, when I drive back, I'll go back to those 2 major cities where car crashes happen every day without fail. It's a daily occurrence, and I believe it's something that we can start working toward to fix. Now, the problem that I'm going to address is elderly drivers on the road, because I believe that we don't have an adequate system in place to discover whether or not drivers still need to be on the road at that point. A driver can reach 75 years of age, and the only thing they have to do is renew their license online. The problem that surrounds elderly drivers has existed for too long without regulation. Older drivers must be examined and tested to see if their mental and physical capabilities can still let them drive, and see if they're still fit to drive on a high-speed motorway. Through my experience on the road as a driver and through my research in this topic, it has become important for me to ensure the safety of others by taking a strong look at whether or not elderly people still need to be driving. Everyone in the United States spends a lot of time on the road, and to make sure they are safe and sound is very important to me, as I hope it is to you. The problem surrounding higher crash and fatality rates of older drivers needs to be changed with more regulation and tests put in place to help not only them but us as well. Now, this problem affects every driver on the road, every passenger, and every person who goes near a roadway. So, the problem with elderly drivers is that once they reach a certain age, their body begins to deteriorate in certain ways. Not always, but a lot of them begin to see shorter memories, reduced eyesight, and reduced muscle coordination. Now, we don't test for any of these things. We just allow them to continue to drive every day. Most people don't realize that they could become a hazard to other people on the road through passing of time because it's so small over it that they can't realize it on their own. From the National Institute of Aging, a department of U.S. Health and Human Services, says that as you get older, your reflexes might get slower and you might not react as quickly as you could in the past. You might find that you have a shorter attention span, making it harder for you to do 2 things at once. Stiff joints and weak muscles can also make it harder to move quickly. So, elderly drivers can't react as fast when they're driving on a road, especially in dangerous conditions or in a dangerous situation. Now also, we don't do a good job as the people who can help them of testing them, making sure they're all right. From thehg.org, an organization for legal assistance and legal help, they consider older drivers to be one of the most hazardous groups that can pose a danger to other drivers on the road. And as they get older and become unfit to drive a vehicle, they can cause more accidents and injure more drivers. However, we can address this problem. This is something we can fix. An easy way to solve this problem would be to reevaluate how the DMV works and how you must renew your license. As of right now, you must only go online and renew it. Once you reach a certain age, we could begin mandatory testing and mandatory site and evaluation checks. So that way we know whether or not you can actually be on a roadway and be safe. As you get older, many people experience changes to their eyesight and do not realize it, which means that we should test their eyesight more. From the American Optometrists Association, an organization dedicated to spreading knowledge about your eyes, they say that just like your body, your eyes and vision change over time. Common age-related vision changes include need for more light, problems with glare, and changes in color perspection and distinction. Which means that an old person looking on a road to a car that could be 500 to 1,000 feet in front of them at any point, they may not be able to tell the difference between that and the car next to them, or the difference between like the road when it changes because they can't tell the distinction of those little lines. Now, examining how well people can see can save a lot of lives and prevent a lot of accidents because people don't realize how bad their eyesight has become. A more in-depth inspection of a person's driving ability would solve the problem of unfit drivers on the road. According to the American Automobile Association, an organization dedicated to road safety and individual protection, per mile traveled, fatal crash rates increase beginning at age 75 and rise sharply after age 80. This is mainly due to an increased risk of injury and medical complications rather than an increased tendency to get into crashes. It is well known that elderly people are more fragile. As they get older, their bones get more brittle, and they tend to have more problems with falling and things like that. So if they get into an accident, they are going to be the one at the most risk. If we took the time to evaluate each person on an individual level, we could reduce the number of crashes and the fatality rate of crashes. With these ideas, we can see change happening in the future. If the solution I proposed was implemented, the roads would be safer and people would have a better state of mind while driving. There would be less accidents per year with these checks. Also, the DMV would be run better due to more people needing service from them. See, these ideas that I've pulled didn't just come from me. According to the Texas Department of Public Safety, a government agency in charge of safety regulations, if you are 79 years of age or older, you will be required to renew your driver's license in person at your local driver's license office. You will be required to successfully pass a vision test, and a license and permit specialist will evaluate your responses. Now, I believe that testing needs to come earlier, but they've already shown that they can put in place tests to help people and to test their mental and physical stability. Other countries have also put methods like this in place. According to the British Broadcasting Corporation, a public news outlet in Britain, drivers aged 75 and over make up 6% of all license holders, but account for just 4.3% of all deaths and serious injuries. See, right now, at the moment, motorists over 70 must declare they are fit every 3 years. Britain has put in place some methods starting earlier, and they have seen a great reduction in the number of fatal accidents. According to statistics from the World Health Organization, road fatalities per 100,000 inhabitants in the United States is 12.4. In Britain, it's 3.1. Now, road fatalities per 100,000 motor vehicles in the United States is 14.2. In Britain, it is 5.7. Much lower. With all of these regulations in place, I believe the roads would be a safer place for everyone. Now, the problem surrounding elderly driving is something that must be addressed and changed. The higher crash and mortality rates of the elderly can be fixed with more testing and regulations to reduce accidents. I call on you to contact people in place, like Steve Gordon, the director of the DMV, who can change these regulations and put more in place so that we can be safer on the road. I want to thank you all for listening, and please consider contacting people who can help make the roads and the world a safer place. Thank you.